you to beat me down, all right, I'll take 3-1 for it.
3-1, including the warranty transfer.
I'll get the train home at 3-1. We'll shake on it now.
At 3-1.
At 3-1, and I'll pay for my own train fare home out of that. Is that a deal?
Deal done. Okay.
Good to do business with you, and I hope you enjoy driving the car.
I will do.
As much as I.
Good. That's £3,100.
Thank you, Tafal.
No problem.
Nice to do business with you.
And you.
Enjoy the car.
I will.
Look after it for me.
I will.
Can't beat the smell of a bit of folding.
Great deal, and one very happy man. Now, Mike, a Renault Clio, what's so special about that, for heaven's sake?
It's no ordinary Clio, Richard. This is a Williams Clio. Williams as in Formula 1, as in very fast. You can forget him. Watch this. You know how the Williams Clio bears more than just a passing resemblance to your mum's old shopping banger? But that is where the similarity ends. You see, back in 1992, when a Brummie with a very large moustache by the name of Nigel Mansell won the Formula 1 Championship with Williams Renault, Renault decided to celebrate the victory by launching the hottest of hot hatches, and they looked towards the humble Clio to provide the car. It's not so much Nicole, more like her tarty sister. Car costs about 13.5 grand new. It can go from 0 to 60 in 7 seconds. It kicks out 150 brake horsepower and has a top speed of 134 miles an hour. Woohoo! Built the chassis and the car come with uprated suspension. And just look at these alloy wheels. They're gold. And they all come with a Williams stitched interior, including blue emblems on the seats, blue seat belts, blue dials. So if blue isn't your favourite colour, then tough, because it's the only colour it comes in. The original production run of 500 was increased to 1,000 with the Williams 2, and then along come the Williams 3, pushing the numbers up to 1,200, which left car investors fuming, demanding that the production be stopped, but car enthusiasts like me happy, because that meant we all get a chance to drive one of the best hot hatches on the road. The originals are the best, or so they keep telling me, and this curvy little Clio is number 2 off the production line, and look, there's even a little plaque to prove it. But I hear you saying, who cares about number 2? What about number 1? Well, number 1 was bought by Mr. Frank Williams himself, and subsequently it's been written off. Unlucky, Frank. So, what do you look out for? Well, Williams Clios are front-wheel drive, so make sure you check the front tyres. Other than that, these beautiful gold Speedline alloy wheels, they do look pretty, but if they've got a dent or a chip on them and you want to replace them, they're £185 each. Under the bonnet, not much goes wrong here. This engine went on to live another day in the beautiful Renault Megane Coupe, but it does suck a bit of oil, so make sure it's had regular oil changes. And while you've got the paperwork out, check the chassis number here and also on the VIN plate. Now, while run-of-the-mill Clio prices continue to drop like Alex Zanardi's grid position in Formula 1, these little beauties continue to retain their value. A high-mileage car with reasonable service history can cost as little as £8,500, where a top-notch cracker can cost as much as £15,000. And if you stop thinking of these cars as glorified shopping trolleys, and more as an offspring for one of the most successful Formula 1 teams ever, then they look more and more attractive every day. In my opinion, the Renault Williams Clio is probably the best hot hatch money can buy. It easily outperforms the stock Peugeot 205 GTI and the Vauxhall Astra GTE. But the really good thing about this car is that the performance and the ride quality were developed by Williams, who alongside Ferrari are the most successful Formula 1 team ever. And if you wanted to get your hands on one of their flash cars, well, you'd have to stump up some serious cash.
You, my friend, are a right yobbo. Join us after the break for more of the same. Visit www.4car.co.uk and check out our 10-point plan to buying a hot Renault Clio or Alfa's elegant 164.
Share the fun.
Okay, what colour is the grass?
Green.
Good. What colour is my jumper?
Blue.
What colour are my teeth?
Beige. Dark white. Creamy. Milky.
No matter how great your smile is, don't you wish it could be whiter? Now it can. Using new Colgate Whitening every day removes stains to help restore your teeth's natural whiteness while protecting against cavities and tartar.
Now what do you say?
New Colgate Whitening for whiter and protected teeth.
Absent friend.
So where exactly is it that they've gone?
Straight to the bottom of the property ladder, I think.
What I want to know is, what are they running away from?
Well, decent Chardonnay for one.
What is this thing that they're actually opening?
Let's face it, she'll be back as soon as she's run out of leg wraps.
Well, I tell you, I'd go tomorrow.
You said that yesterday.
Everybody's talking about what's growing in Grace's greenhouse. Find out. See Saving Grace, only in cinemas.
Come on, take me to the...
Shining like a national guitar. The greatest hits of Paul Simon. 19 timeless songs. Discover the unique sound of Paul Simon. Newly remastered from the original studio recordings.
50 ways to leave your lover still crazy.
Shining like a national guitar. The greatest hits of Paul Simon.
It's a double rollover. So this Wednesday's jackpot is an estimated £20 million. Have you got your dream ticket?
Well, I tell you, I'd go tomorrow.
You said that yesterday.
At autotrader.co.uk, you'll find your perfect partner.
Visit our website at www.4car.co.uk and check out 4Car's fantastic new bargain price guide, as well as our test of Mercedes' stunning new C-Class saloon.
You just don't get more British than an Austin Cambridge. Just its name creates a sense of stature and reliability. Perhaps that's why Winston Churchill had one. Actually, it was styled by the Italian Farina of Ferrari fame, but there the similarities end. Because this car does 0 to 60 in 24 seconds and tops out at 78 miles an hour. That's why Penny Griffiths, a police forensic scientist, is selling hers. She loves the car's leather, its styling and its old world charm, but it just isn't quick enough to get it to the scene of a crime on time, so sadly, it's got to go.
Hi, my name's Penny and this is my Austin Cambridge. Unfortunately, I'm having to sell it because I need a faster car for work. I'm actually a forensic scientist. I get called out to a fair number of murders to maybe interpret the blood distribution left at the violent scene. sometimes the police will wait for the forensic scientists to do their bit before they actually carry on with their examination of the scene. So I need a faster car, really, which unfortunately means the modern one. The seats are so large, sometimes I feel like a little old woman peering over the top of the steering wheel. I was considering getting a cushion to sit on, but I think that made me look even more like a little old woman. When I tell people what colour it is, they all pull faces, but it's different. Nobody else drives around in a black and lilac car that I know of. The car is 40 years old, so you'd expect it to be a little bit shabby, but it's not too bad. It's got leather upholstery, which is nice. I think it must have been a touch of luxury in the 1950s. I'm asking £1,795 for the car, but I am willing to take offers.
Most Austin Cambridge's particularly deluxe models came with leather interiors, and you want to check the condition of all this because it costs £2,000 to £3,000 to retrim, which could be more than the car is worth. Now, if it's just scuffed or grazed, don't worry too much because that's cheap and cheerful to put right. It's tears you want to look out for because old leather tears very easily. Even if the car's interior is in good condition, you're not out of the woods yet because you've got to look at the car's chromework. And as you can see on this back bumper, it's beginning to flake off. It will cost £200 to replate this and about £1,000 to do the whole car.
A couple of useful things when you're buying an Austin Cambridge is to see if the car's got an alternator fitted. It'll charge up the battery a lot quicker, and originally the car would have come with a dynamo. Also, see if it's got an electric fan, because that stops the car from overheating in modern day traffic. One vital thing are the 15 grease nipple points. They look after and lubricate the steering, the suspension and the drivetrain, and they should be serviced every 1,500 miles. Ask the owner if he's ever had this done, because if he hasn't, the chances are the car's a bit of a dog and you should walk away.
Me, I will only give her £1,400 for it.
1,400 quid? Are you mad? It's a nice car, but it ain't worth that. Come on, it's only worth a dozen, 1,200 quid. Let's have a look what happens.
There's a potential buyer arriving any minute. He seems to know a bit about classic cars. I think he's got one or two of his own. He sounded very interested on the telephone when I've spoken to him during the week, so hopefully he's going to buy the car.
Hello, Penny.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Nick. How
Hi.
are you doing? Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
God, it's such an unusual colour, isn't it?
Yes.
I've only ever seen another one in this shade, and I'm sad enough to go looking for such things, you know. So.
It's orchid.
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 Yeah.
I thought it was a bit of funny colour to be called orchid.
Yeah, they only did these for a short period of time, and only on this model as well.
Right.
Don't know whether sort of the greengrocers that they're aimed at really wanted a mauvey coloured car at the time. I don't know who would, yeah. Upholstery's certainly fairly good, isn't it? It's got the original jacking point. It's quite nice. Steel wings. Do you know what the mileage is on it? Is it original mileage?
As far as I'm aware, it's original mileage. It's, what, about 96,000 miles?
Yeah. There's like some horrors under here, isn't it? It certainly looks good mechanically. Is it possible to take it for a quick run? Well, they're quite relaxing to drive, aren't they? Because you're sort of 58 miles an hour and you're fine. Normally they cruise about sort of 60 though, won't they, quite happily?
So, with Penny after £1,795, let's see what happens.
There is only one problem actually, that I don't know if you know this, but it doesn't have the original registration number.
Right.
Which I think does devalue it quite a bit.
Right.
I didn't realise it didn't have the original number when we spoke. I know you mentioned it had 3 numbers and 3 letters. I would think it's been re-registered at some stage, that somebody's nicked the original number and put it on some boring car. Some people would be more than happy with that.
I mean, it doesn't bother me because...
No, obviously, it's as a sad enthusiast of them, I would quite like to have one with the original, you know, to have the original plate.
Yeah, it might be possible to trace the owner.
It might well be, yeah. What about something around about 1,200? Would you be...
Not
what
really,
was the least that you would?
I didn't really want to drop below sort of 1,500 at the least, really. Wouldn't have thought it would devalued it that much. I mean, I paid 2,000 for it 2 years ago, and I have, you know, done quite a lot of work on it.
Yes, certainly it's not overpriced. I'm sorry. I'm sure it's, you know, we find someone, they certainly find it a home. Okay, thank you anyway.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Obviously it's disappointing that Nick's not going to buy the car, but I can't really afford to sell it for that much. So I'm going to have to sort of say no to his offer, I'm afraid.
What a shame, that was a lovely little car, but it just goes to show no matter how cool your car is, sometimes they just don't shift. Now then, Richard, what is this you bought in?
This, my streetwise chum, is the reason you should regard Lancia with respect and passion. The finest Italian cars are often so very expensive, but there is one forgotten beauty that you can pick up for less than a Ferrari exhaust, the Lancia Fulvia. They're so elegant, so chic, and when they were new, they were terribly expensive. In fact, before Fiat bought Lancia in the early 70s, the company was responsible for some of the greatest and most exclusive cars ever built. With a top speed of only 105 miles an hour and 0 to 60 in just 12 seconds, the little Fulvia was trounced by the macho Jaguar E-Type, which did 150 miles an hour and cost the same money. But that misses the point. The E-Type was just so blatant. To drive one of those was like standing on a street corner with your trousers around your ankles. The Lancia Fulvia, by comparison, was the height of discretion and ultimate good taste. Make no mistake, the Fulvia was no blouse. With its great reliability and superb handling, the car made an excellent rally car. In fact, Lancia secured the 1972 championship with it before going on to win all sorts of other international events too. The model they used to achieve that was called the Fulvia HF. These are fabulous cars, real wolves in sheep's clothing. They're rorty, they're throaty, oh, and they really bring out the hooligan in you. The trouble is, at twice the price of a standard car, they're not the obvious choice. It's much easier to get your hands on a Series 2 Fulvia. They're beautifully designed and engineered and so reliable that you can use them for everyday transport. In fact, driving this car now is like driving a 10-year-old Golf GTI, not a 25-year-old classic. So, what do you get for your money? Well, at the heart of this Bambino is a V4 front-wheel drive engine which Lancia very cleverly have laid down on its side. That lowers the centre of gravity, which allows for better handling and allows for this low, sleek bonnet line as well. It's attached to a 5-speed gearbox, and the car also has 4 disc brakes with servo assistance, and that's a very impressive specification for the early 1970s. Now, all these mechanics are mounted on a subframe under the car that's attached to the floor in 6 places. Now, it's absolutely vital that you check each one of those mountings for rust, and I suggest you start down here because these are the first to go. Now, if you've had subframe problems, the chances are a lot of strain has been put on the bodywork of the car, and a telltale sign of that is a vertical split in the front wing here above the front wheel. And in really bad cases, the sills will have gone as well, and that will affect the way the door opens and closes. Now, Fulvias do rot around their rear ends as well, but all that'll be fairly obvious. What won't be so obvious is around here in the rear corners of the roof. Water collects down here and can make its way inside the car, so have a good look. When you come to start a Fulvia from cold, don't worry if your oil pressure needle flies off the screen, because it's meant to. What's more important is that it resettles when the engine's hot at around the halfway position. If it doesn't, you could be in for a very expensive engine rebuild. Fine cars though they are, old Lancias deteriorate like any old Italian car. Many of the parts are hard to find, especially the exterior trim, so don't rush your inspection and look at all those beautiful details. Now, the really good news is that you can buy a perfectly usable Fulvia Series 2 for as little as £2,000 to £3,000. But I suggest you spend more than that and pay £5,000 and buy a really mint one, because that is a snip by anybody's standards. Well, that wraps up another series of Deals on Wheels. We hope you've enjoyed our journey through the minefield that is the second-hand car business and perhaps learnt one or two things about the pitfalls.
So thank you very much again for watching. Keep out of trouble and in the money. Until next time, bye-bye.
See ya.
You know what, I really enjoyed that series. It was great, wasn't it?
Well, yes, Mike, you lost us a load of money there.
I never lost you nothing.
You
Come on.
didn't, come on.
You've
I
been
mean,
cheating
all
all
the way
series.
through the whole series. I mean, I thrashed you at Centre Pod.
You never thrashed, Richard. You cheated.
For this week's stories, great bargains and a fully interactive experience, go to the Deals on Wheels website at 4car.co.uk.